And we are live. Hello, Elina.
Hi, Michael. How are you?
I am well. Nice to see you. Hi, everybody
Good,
who's already tuned in. It's nice to see all of you as well, even though we don't see you on video like we see each other.
good to see you guys all. Thank you for watching this
Yeah.
show.
Yeah, I'm very excited to have Elina here. This has been a while coming. It's going to be great. And I mean, we met a while back in Carmen de los Condes in Spain, but maybe the viewers don't know you as well. Could you introduce yourself quickly to everybody so they have some context of who you are?
Hi, so I'm Elina Chekan. I'm originally from Minsk, Belarus, and I'm a guitarist. Um, I studied in Belarus, graduated there, and then I came to United States, repeated half of my degrees. Well, not half, master's degree.
Yeah.
And then now I'm in Milwaukee. I teach here at UW Milwaukee together with my husband, Rene Izquierdo.
Cool.
And we work, we teach, we travel,
Yeah.
and
You both perform a
do
lot too.
do
So
all kinds of things that guitarists do. We have many hats,
yes.
and today we just got another one,
Yes.
like me,
Yeah, exactly.
editing hat.
Oh yeah, editing videos. Yes, you're editing the video editing and the live streaming hat today.
Right, that's
Um,
kind of in nutshell.
nice, cool. Renee is actually in the chat. He says hello, hi Renee. And Halim says hi Michael, hi Elina. Thanks for sharing. Thank you for being here, Halim. Very cool. So yeah, I think you nailed it on the head saying we have many hats because guitarists have to do, professional classical guitarists especially, have to do a lot of different things. Maybe professional musicians in general. One of the things you've done recently was this research for your doctorate, right, on the music of
Yep.
Galina Gorelova, which is going to be our topic today. So yeah, we'll get into that in a little bit here. But first I wanted to address, you want to say something about the piece we heard during the introduction, during the countdown, right?
Yes, I thought it would be very nice to include it because, unfortunately, Jorge passed away this February, and he was a very important, still is a very important person in our life. I actually met him rather long time ago. I met him in 1990, let me think for a second, 4 or 5. And I went to the festival in Poland that was in Krynicy. And he was there and he played a concert.
Nice.
And I remember I spoke to him, and I liked the guitar he played.
Nice. What kind of guitar was that?
And I asked, what kind of guitar was that? And he told me that he has this friend who is an owner of a guitar store, Tony Acosta, who is the owner of Luthier Music Store. And if I ever come to New York, I could buy a rather decent guitar for $5,000-$6,000. And I at that time, of course, I thought that, for me, that was something out of reach completely. Yeah. That was like talking about the moon or the stars or the Saturn as well. You could invite me to Venice.
Yeah.
Like to invite to New York. But life is a very peculiar thing, and it happened actually. It did happen.
Yes. Oh, you bought a guitar. Cool.
Yeah, and after we graduated, we moved actually to New York. We lived a couple years in New York City. And we went to his house every Saturday.
Nice.
And every Saturday we had a dinner, and we would play music, and we would just absolutely get to know him very close. And he's just a very wonderful, warm person. And then we moved to Wisconsin, and unfortunately we didn't see him as often. He moved to Orlando because his daughter lives in Orlando. Last time I saw him was 2018. Actually, I had one of my considerations for doctoral research was certain aspects of his music, and I collected quite a lot of material, but it happened that I went to Belarus that same year. And of course, I knew about Galina Gorelova because she's a very known composer. There she's one of the leading composers in Belarus, but I never met her before. I never met her before I left. Like when we're students, we think, why important composer would want to even talk to you?
Yeah, you'd be surprised. I mean, it's surprising.
Right, exactly. Yeah, but that was what I was thinking at the time. So when I came back, I decided to meet with her. And everything else is coming after. She is a very nice, very warm, very connecting person.
Beautiful.
And I'm absolutely grateful to know her.
Yeah, I've had basically only positive experiences meeting with composers, working with composers, and it's such a special relationship. That was actually the topic of my master's research, was how guitarists and composers collaborate, specifically composers who maybe haven't written for guitar before. And it's just, yeah, having that relationship is so special. It's not something you can do, obviously, with composers of music who have passed away. So it must make it much more special playing her music. I was also noticing, just to backtrack a bit, in the Jorge Morel photo, the photo you had of you guys with Jorge, on the wall behind him, there's a photo of him in Segovia.
Yes.
it was great to have this photo of you guys together, and then in the photo is a photo of him with, it's
Yes,
we all
yes,
cherish these memories of meeting people, who we care about and also
absolutely. It's a history
admire.
of a history.
Yeah, yeah, it's kind of a great little inception in the video there. Um,
Absolutely.
but yeah, that's great. But before we get into the meat of because you're going to give a little presentation on your research and talk about Galina's music more, I want to ask first if you could define for us, since this is the gotcha question I ask every guest, the one tradition we'll do today from the show is asking you, how do you define classical guitar?
How do I define classical guitar? Tricky question.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's an instrument that we fall in love with at some point of our life, and that life lasts a long time, lifetime.
Hmm.
It is something that absolutely have to touch your heart
Okay.
with its sounds, with its intimacy, with its possibilities,
Yeah.
limited and unlimitless at the same time.
Yeah. 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 I agree with that.
And
Yeah.
everything else, what kind of music we play, that's a little bit different for everybody.
Okay. So that's kind of secondary to you. The instrument is more primary than the music itself.
I think that there is so many, like, I mean, right now we live in the time that we're musical omnivores. We listen to all kinds of music, and
Mm-hmm.
there is, like, in my perspective, like what I think about music, there is like what is classical music.
Yeah, I know. That's
Like
yeah.
what is it's a
Yeah.
philosophical question. So what is classical guitar?
Yeah.
Is it a special dinosaur type of
Yeah.
what kind of animal is that? It's this instrument that is definitely acoustic, that is definitely has to touch you with its sounds.
Yeah, it's acoustic, but then there are also, classical guitar pieces with electronic elements. So yeah, I don't know.
Sure,
Yeah.
sure.
But the instrument itself, yeah, it's true. Uh, I think it's better to focus on the aspects of the instrument that are unique. You mentioned like the sound and the intimacy and those things, rather than what type of music per se. But yeah, I guess the two are somewhat tied. Um, Evgeny Gridushka says, "Hello, dear friends. I'm so glad to see you. We are so happy to see you, Evgeny. This is great, and we're going to see Evgeny in one of the recordings today, actually. So stay tuned.
Yes,
for that.
that's a little surprise.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, I ruined the surprise. Oops. And May Capoeira says, hello from Lancaster, PA. Hi, May. Nice to see you. If you guys have questions, please put them in the chat, because we're open to taking any and all comments and questions about what we're talking about. We'd love to hear from you, and I'm sure Elina would like to answer any questions you have about the music. So you have a presentation for us, and you kind of already answered this, but how did you decide to study Galina's music for your doctorate, and what was your first experience with her music, and what drew you to it? Why were you there?
She wrote a piece for the guitar that called The Castle of Mirror. And that was a long time ago, actually. And, I knew this piece and I played this piece. And then when I came back in 2018, I didn't realize, when I met her, I didn't really realize how much music she wrote for the guitar meanwhile I was here in America. And I realized that if I don't know about it, and I'm from Belarus,
yeah,
what are the chances that everybody else have? And so I started looking at it. I didn't right away decided, oh, this is going to be my doctoral research, but I started looking at it because, this is a composer that I know her piece, and of course I want to know what else she wrote for the guitar. And when I looked into that, that was obvious that I would be the person to do this, because first of all, I speak both languages. Second, I'm really from there, and I can ask firsthand, and what's the better way of bringing forth information about composer, about her music, is not from the first source. And I thought that was just a unique opportunity, wonderful possibility to do that, and enrich our repertoire by doing that.
it's so important, especially because I mean, one of the harsh realities, as you know, of sort of maturing as a musician is realizing that quality does not necessarily mean recognition, you know? And so it can mean recognition, but it doesn't always. So in the sense of, as a player, we have a duty to also promote the music we think is high quality and that we think is contributing something great, because it doesn't always necessarily automatically get seen just because it's high quality, you know? As a player, it's somewhat our job to make sure that these things get seen by choosing what we program, you know, and making conscious choices about that.
Right. Well, Galina Gorelova and I was born like in Soviet Union, and that was not necessarily a society that put marketing in the forefront of its running force.
Yeah.
So people of her generation, they are somewhat even uncomfortable to really move and present themselves and market themselves.
Right.
And as we were talking earlier, we have to have so many hats as musicians, and then it comes down to where do you want to spend your time. She is full-time professor. She's teaching.
Yeah.
She's teaching full-time, and like you would want to probably put your time into writing music, like
right.
exactly. In practicing, and then we would have to have. To be our own producers and marketer, and then you have to really balance what exactly can you do.
Yeah,
it's so
hard, but that's why I mean it's also, that's why it's even more important as players that it's our job to bring this music out, because composers can't do that entirely themselves. Of course, composers do their own job to bring their music out, but
exactly.
And it's interesting also how much regional stuff affects stuff. I mean, it's not a comparison that works really, but for example, coming out here, I'm shocked by how few people know the music of Brian Johansson, because I love his music, and I studied in Vancouver, and in the west, sort of Pacific Northwest area, all guitarists know his music, and it's widely played. But then in Europe, it's not, and it's just kind of a shame. And I'm like, I want to play these pieces here because
exactly.
Where I am now, it's not being heard. So yeah.
Yes, exactly. It is, you're absolutely right. It is somewhat regional, based on really experience and based who are you interacting with?
Yeah, for sure. So do you want to show us kind of what you've gathered for your research? You're now finished your doctorate, so you are now Dr. Elina Chekan. Maybe I should have introduced you that way. But you have a presentation to give us. Is this the presentation you gave for your sort of thesis defense?
No, not quite. I tweaked a lot of things here because this is not a platform to go more deeply into describing the withins of music, so to say, of analysis and things like that. This is a little bit very more general, and of course I cannot really touch many of her pieces. I will show you. She has actually so much stuff for the guitar. I will only really show a couple pieces that I actually recorded for this presentation today, because the recital that I played, unfortunately, is not very good recording, my doctoral presentation recital, and she has a lot of music with other instruments. Like she has a fabulous piece with harpsichord that at this time I don't have my own recording, and there is just not enough of time to touch a lot of pieces. I will just name them, and I will just show little bits here and there.
Awesome. Cool. Okay. Raul Izquierdo says, presence in your program, Elina. Congratulations. Yeah, nice to see you here, Raul.
Hi, Raul.
So do you want to share? You can share your screen here.
And sure. Let's do that.
Yes.
Okay. Let's see that I share the right thing.
Yeah, I'm just gonna, I have to do a bit of, there we go. Perfect. Okay, we've got it all set up now correctly. So this is Galina Gorelova, born 1951, Minsk, Belarus.
I really like this picture because I think that really reflects her personality and her kind of curious and imaginative mind.
Probably good for a composer, good qualities to have, you know.
All right, so first thing first, where is Belarus?
Yes.
It's landlocked country in Europe. It has a border with Ukraine, Poland, Russia. Lithuania and Latvia.
Okay.
And the capital of Belarus is Minsk. Oh, actually, this is not the good flag anymore.
Oh no. Okay.
Like it just was there. So Minsk is the capital. And the second thing that we have to address is the spelling, because the spelling is really can be very confusing. Because Galina Gorelova, as you know, Belarus, Russia, the writing is in Cyrillic. Mm-hmm. And so the writing, the translation becomes very tricky. The part of translation become very tricky. So usually you will see her online. She would sign her works as Galina Gorelova as the second line. However, when you read this first line in Belarusian language, because in Russia, in Belarus, mainly people speak Russian. However, there is Belarusian language, and if you read this in a Belarusian way, the phonetically G becomes H, and a lot of confusion comes from there because people's names sometimes spelled in a different way. And it is this third way that you would find her name in Grove Dictionary, for example. And that will be very confusing for somebody who would be, for example, doing research.
Yeah.
Because they would think, oh, she's not there. But yes, she is, but she's with this third name. I'm not quite sure what's the best way to go about this problem.
And sorry, you're pronouncing her Gorelova? Her last
Gorelova.
Gorelova. Okay, but that's not how it looks in the middle one. It looks like Gorelova to me. But
okay, so the accent would be here.
But even the O seems okay. Yeah.
Right, and the thing is, if you know the Russian language, if you have accent on the O, it will be O. But if there is no accent on the O phonetically will become A. So you will pronounce Ga, Re, Lava.
Gorelova, okay.
Yeah. So the accent is on the middle syllable, and O phonetically becomes A.
Okay.
So Gorelova.
These things are very important. Moving to the Netherlands, the double vowel thing here, it took me a while to get used to. And reading people's names, I would get it wrong like 80% of the time for the first year.
Of course, if you say Gorelova, everybody would understand that. But it's not the way it would be pronounced in Russian.
Interesting. Okay, well, I learned something new. I can maybe pronounce some Russian words or names slightly better now.
Well, if O under the accent is O, if it's not under the accent, most likely it's not O.
Okay, handy to know. Great. I will try my best to say it correctly.
You know, before I was married to my Cuban husband, I thought Russian was easier to read. Seriously, when he started learning to read, I realized no.
Not easier to read. Yeah. How is Renee's Russian?
He is okay.
Yeah.
All right, so I just thought that because the Grove Music Online is an important dictionary, so today I included some information from there. So Galina Gorelova was born in Minsk in 1951. She's a Belarusian composer. She graduated from Smolsky composition class at the National Conservatory of Music. And since 1980, she started teach composition there. She first attracted attention with her first violin concerto that she wrote in 1979, and the Grove Dictionary describes it as an influence of Shostakovich is notable for its emotive expression and richness of melodic development. Well, who cannot be influenced by Shostakovich?
Yeah, I mean, as you know, Nathan Bredesen just wrote me an entire 20-minute sonata that's homage to Shostakovich, so it's hard not to see the appeal, you know?
Right. She also she studied also in Moscow with Yuri Fortunatov.
Okay.
And that was a very strong connection to that school.
Cool.
So in the 80s, she wrote a lot of chamber vocal works, where she uses themes of love and life, and she's described as a woman or in a Schumannesque vein, and while employing contemporary modal techniques and modern interpretations of Belarusian folk idioms.
Okay, so she's moving, in a sort of newer direction there.
Mm-hmm.
I guess an early interest in chamber and vocal works would make it ideal for her to start writing for guitar, or was she already writing for guitar at this point?
No, not quite, but so like these works would be based on a poetry of various countries actually, and also poetry of Belarusian
okay, so she hadn't yet started with the guitar.
Poets. So yeah, because this is general. This is not about guitar yet.
Right, but I'm just wondering how the guitar fits into this story. So yeah.
Oh yeah, we'll fit there.
We'll get there. Okay, sorry, I'm jumping the gun a bit here.
So the works started with 1990 are described as noted for its impressionistic Oriental coloring.
So I'm noticing here she's delving into a lot of different sort of areas of or inspirations for her composition.
Absolutely,
it's quite broad.
Absolutely, very very broad, and her choice of like she really good with all these different kinds of techniques.
Yeah.
And she uses them depending of what she perceives the music requires.
Okay, so very flexible, maybe. Cool.
Yeah, you can say that. She has quite a few concertos. At least 13 concertos that I know she wrote for various instruments, including she has a guitar concerto.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
And so in concertos, she is known for reserving and looking for the timbre, which is colors, through the imitation of practices specific to folk music performance traditions, yet still relies on orthodox forms. She is described as her musical style is described as having affinities both of Sviridov and Bartok.
I don't know who Sviridov is. I should look this name
up. Sviridov is a Russian composer.
Okay.
20th century composer.
Cool.
And at the same time, it is distinguished by its lyricism, poetical spirituality, and peculiarity of instrumental color.
Well, the thing about color and timbre is probably also setting her up well for writing on the guitar, you know?
Absolutely. But she actually uses wonderful timbre in many different settings. It's quite amazing.
I just mean attention to timbre would be super
absolutely,
useful,
absolutely.
Yeah, for writing on the guitar, yeah. Oh, Carrie Lynch says, hey guys, lots of love from Scotland. Hi, Carrie, we miss you. Okay, sorry, go ahead.
Cool. All right, so who she is? She's a composer of orchestral, chamber, choral, vocal, piano music. She's head of composition department in Belarus Academy of Music, professor, co-founder of Belarusian Society of Contemporary Music in Minsk. Cool. And she is also, you know, we have this honored artist that is awarded to people who contributed to art. And so she has twice she received a special state prizes.
Awesome.
For she has cantata Anno Mundi Ardentis, which is written for based on the poetry of various poets from various epochs and countries, starting from like early Chinese poetry and like it's a variety of
is there a thread connecting them all, or is it?
Say it again.
Is there a thread connecting them all? Like how are they?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And for concerto for 2 trumpets.
I want to hear a concerto. I've never heard a concerto for 2 trumpets. That sounds amazing.
I can send you the link. I mean,
Yeah.
I can put, I can send you the link. Maybe we can put links at the end,
Yeah,
you know.
if someone can find her Concerto for Two Trumpets somewhere, put it in the chat. If anyone who's listening can find it, that would be cool to see.
Right. But we maybe also can put under YouTube video
Yeah,
after the links if
we can
people
add a
want
comment
to,
later. Yeah.
if people want to hear.
Cool. All right. So
And
that's
so
our
this is when
background.
I went and we worked with her, and she, like I had a lot of questions to ask her.
How have you met her just once or multiple times?
And no, I went twice because first time when I met her, I didn't change. I asked for guitar music, she gave me some, and then when I came back to United States, I started looking at all of this and I realized, Mamma mia, there is so much that I didn't realize. And it was obvious to me that I will have to come back because it just was impossible to ask all the questions I needed to ask over, over email or over the phone. And so I went second time specifically to work for this project.
Yeah, it's hard working over distance. I mean, it's getting easier as time goes on, but it's not the same as meeting someone in person, of course. Yeah.
So there is a few recordings that are out with her music that are available in the West, so to say. For guitarist Pavel Kuchta plays a lot of his music. Kudos to him about that, and we will listen a little bit from this CD.
That looks like a cool CD. It's got also Gerard on it, and
it's her prelude and fugue there.
Nice.
And Bashmet, I put, it's not a CD, but she wrote a concerto for viola. He commissioned a concerto from her. So, all right. So I think, so inspirations. Her music is inspired by art of any kind, visual and performing art, by poetry, literary sources. She's very, very interested in poetry, and she really knows poetry, by architecture, human emotions, folklore, and Belarusian idiom.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, I could see just from the list of the works that she got prizes for, the poetic connection is clear there,
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, this is not the full, like I just try to put a little list of her works, but this is not a complete, I think it's up to maybe 2009 list of main works. Wow. So she has orchestral compositions, which mainly concertos and
nice. Oh, Halim found the concerto for 2 trumpets. He put it in the chat. Thank you, a YouTube link. Thanks, Halim. That's really helpful.
Great.
Nice.
Chamber music. She has a lot of pieces for chamber music, and that includes guitar, choral.
Yeah, I see guitar a few times in there. We're just scanning through.
Vocal music, piano music. She has beautiful pieces for children, for piano mainly.
Nice. Cool.
And I just want to play a couple extracts from her non-guitar music before we go to the guitar music.
Yeah.
So she has, first when she told me, oh, I have a suite that called Mark's Passion. And of course, if you hear Mark's Passion, I thought, oh, it's something after Bach, but it's after Marc Chagall.
Oh, okay.
It's very, very nice. So she selected 7 paintings by Marc Chagall, and each movement is a musical interpretation or a musical painting of a painting. Nice. So if you look at, so the first movement, I just will look a little bit briefly at the first movement. It's called The Soul of the City.
And that's this painting.
And this is this painting. Yeah. So if you know, Marc Chagall is a painter who actually was born in Vitebsk. He was born in 1887, and Vitebsk is right now is in the territory of Belarus. When he was born, it was Russian Empire. So then he immigrated to Paris, and then during the Second World War, he went to United States, right?
Okay.
So if you look at this painting, because in order to, it will help to listen a little bit. So it was painted in 1945, and in the middle you see a painter who is, it's Chagall himself, and the painter looks at two different directions. On one hand, he is looking at this river of light that is actually starts from here, from the top, and you see like the little buildings. This is from his Vitebsk. This is from his hometown, and then the Torah. So the river of light that flows from his hometown and from teachings of Torah, and the second half facing the second face facing the canvas where he draw a crucifix.
Yeah, so
and
is he Jewish or?
Yes, he is
okay.
Jewish.
Okay,
he is
that
Jewish.
Explains the Torah, yeah.
Right.
But why the crucifix then? I'm just curious.
Yeah.
Do we know?
So I will get to that. It's a good question.
I keep
no. It's a valid. It's great. That's great. So he came to United States in 1941, and while at his exile, themes of violence and disruption came to characterize his work, with Jesus and the crucifixion being the most prevalent images utilized by Chagall during the World War II.
Yeah. Okay.
So this is what he writes. For me, Christ has always symbolized the true type of the martyr, of Jewish martyr.
Oh, interesting.
That is how I understood him in 1908 when I used his figure for the first time. It was under the influence of these pogroms. Then I painted and drew him in pictures about ghettos, surrounded by troubles, by Jewish mothers running terrified with little children in their arms. He writes that perhaps I could have painted another Jewish prophet, but after 2000 years, mankind has come attached to the figure of Jesus. It's a symbol of, it's a symbolic symbol of light, of salvation in a best possible way.
Yeah, it's interesting too in the 20th century for him to use that symbol also because of the fact that Christ was being invoked in some cases on both sides of that sort of conflict, you know. So it's also, I think it's a universal symbol in a lot of ways, right? In that setting especially. So yeah.
So her Gorelova's, now I'm going to talk a little bit about music, is structured in 3 waves of dramatic development, and there's different elements, and you can hear it's very concise. Her music is usually very concise and to the point, like kind of brief ideas are very clear. Church bell chimes, this is the reminiscence of his Vitebsk. Actually, church bells are very important element of Gorelova's music, and it's important element of I think like any person that lives in the territory of, like in Orthodox environment, because their church bells are absolutely gorgeous and beautiful.
And I would guess at that time they would be sort of a lot of people's daily keeping of time would be organized around hearing those also, right? So
that's one thing. And another thing is that, you know, after the revolution, a lot of that was kind of destroyed, not everything, but a lot. And during the 90s was a big movement of revival,
right,
of the even of the melodies of. So then you will hear urban motifs, and that will be hard cluster brass, and that would be the city, the urban motifs. Then loud marching intonations, revolutionary past from his town, and then the weeping, lamenting intonations of violin of Belarusian and Jewish mellows. Now here is the little.
Evgeny is writing something in Cyrillic, which I can't read. So maybe if you can look at the chat, you can see what he's saying.
Oh, okay.
Because
Evgeny.
Evgeny, because sorry, Evgeny, I can't read this.
Let us see. Where do you look at the chat?
On Facebook. Maybe actually, sorry, maybe you can look at it while you play the clip after you finish explaining this piece. Sorry.
Okay.
Or you can look at it later. Also, it's fine.
Okay.
Sorry.
All right. Okay. So I was gonna say that it is Belarusian State Symphony Orchestra with Anisimov conducting and Regina Sarkisova on the violin.
Cool.
Okay. Well, just a little taste.
Yeah, a beautiful melody.
It's absolutely gorgeous, and every movement is, especially when you look at the painting and you really understand what painting is, it is just such an incredible match to what it is. But at the same time, it's not just descriptive, but it somehow brings a different quality in the painting. Mm-hmm. I just love this piece. Yeah.
Beautiful. Yeah.
All right, so let's keep going. So this is Gorelova's quotes. In music, I want to say about eternal, which are human feelings. They are everlasting as long as humanity exists. It is just that in some epochs, feelings are muffled by the cruelty of life. But they must be awakened, made to sound, if only so that the humanity doesn't perish. This is the purpose of music. And the second quote, for me, the most important is a convincing and extremely expressive embodiment of a thought, idea, and what means are used for that does not matter. You know, this is a little bit of what we said that about which technique are you using. Is it tonal? Is it atonal? Is it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, there's something, I don't know, it's for me, and of course it's subjective too, so it's hard to say exactly what that is, but there's something with, I don't really like this idea of is tonal music or is atonal music better, or is music that uses this technique or this kind of texture better, because for me, at least just personally, it's not so much which type of music or technique is being used by a composer, it's just you can kind of tell when a composer is embodying something they really feel. That sounds very wishy-washy to say. But,
no, absolutely.
You know, rather than using a form or a technique because it's in vogue or it's what they think they should be doing or something, you know. So
also, when you say, "Oh, it's atonal," it's atonal. It's a very it's a limitation. It's a limiting belief in a way, and because if you want to tap into a different palette, why not, right?
As long as it serves what you're trying to express, right?
Exactly.
Which is what she's saying here.
Right.
That it's about what are you trying to express, and then what's going to serve that best. So.
Right. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Another little extract I will show you. So this is a portrait of a tree, and it's based on this painting by Mhm.
Okay.
And it is for oboe. No,
Beautiful.
no, I'm sorry. It's not oboe. It's
Clarinet,
it's
right?
for clarinet,
Nice. Solo clarinet.
for solo clarinet.
Ah, cool.
It's gorgeous. It's absolutely gorgeous. And oh, okay, let's listen.
Yeah, let's hear some.
Well,
Cool. Yeah.
it's I don't know.
Yeah,
I
that
just love
intro
it.
gives me some very Shostakovian vibes from the sort of lone woodwind and the movement of the intervals and stuff.
And also that has a connection with modality, because
Mm-hmm.
that's I think what we hear.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Shostakovich wouldn't say that he necessarily used modality, but he did, because
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, but just some of the like it's that I don't know, it's also sounds kind of subjective to say, but when the intervals move in a way that seems unexpected but makes sense at the same time, it's like yeah,
yeah,
very,
yeah,
it's
it's
very cool.
cool. I love this piece.
Eva Christensen is saying, so playful. Did she explore composing in different guitar tunings, e.g., Koen Baba? What are your thoughts about it? Or will we get to that in the guitar section?
Yeah, I think we'll get there when we get to the guitar. You know, she's not a guitarist. I think for exploring different tunings, you need to be a guitarist, and she composes from a composer point of view. It's
Oh,
up
you
to
think so?
guitarists
Really?
to figure out what tuning that would work in. Almost. Does it
I
make
guess,
sense?
yeah. I guess if you're not a guitarist, you would need a guitarist to work with in order to figure out what tunings are working or not. But
Yes.
like for example, this piece I play by Jason Noble, this new piece uses the Petrushka chord essentially as the tuning of the guitar, but with E
Because it's a
flat.
fourth.
Yeah, but it's E flat and then A major triads stacked on top of each other.
Mm-hmm.
But that's different too because that piece is mostly all harmonics, so it's a little bit easier to. Anyways, but yeah, I get your point. You kind of need, if you know the instrument as well as you do as a guitarist, it's easier to write with different tunings for sure. Anyhow.
So here, just a little quick summary of what I saw in her style. And unfortunately, I don't know many of her pieces. And what everything I heard is just amazing. It's just amazing. So you see elements of traditional combined, linked with the present day techniques. You can hear tonality and atonality and modality. So this mixture of style, abound technique, melodic intervallic utterance,
Mm-hmm.
she's very sensitive to intervals, especially the previous piece is
Which
is a
is
good.
great for guitar because we struggle with polyphony, right? So the better you are with effectively using intervals, the the easier it is to write for us. Maybe, I don't know.
She is very sensitive to color and to timbre, sonorities. Her nature is programmatic. Her music is programmatic in nature. She uses a lot of elements of Belarusian folk, and it's condensed, short, but very expressive.
Yeah. Adam Chickalidi says, hello, friends. Happy Saturday. Hi, Adam. Nice to see you.
Hello.
Sorry, keep going. Just acknowledging people in the chat.
All right. Why guitar?
Yes. Why guitar?
What attracts me to the guitar? Intimacy and delicacy of expression.
Okay.
For me, guitar is one of the most subtle, delicate, even intimate instruments capable of conveying the most subtle artistic and most importantly psychological details.
Oh. So it's like through someone's playing, you can kind of be their therapist a little bit and see into their soul.
Right. So it's definitely not the flamenco face of the guitar or that percussive side. Even it can be percussive.
Yeah, I mean, this is why I fell in love with the guitar, even though I started as an adult later than most people. I just noticed from watching even just a few classical guitar concerts. I think I'd only seen two. It was Dale Kavanagh and Toma Villito were the only two concerts I'd seen, and I was already like, wow. Two different players, you see such a difference in their color and how they use the strings and how they interact with the strings, and it just seemed to me like immediately there's so much control over those subtle details compared to many other instruments, so.
Yeah. We're coming back a little bit to your question. What is classical guitar?
Yeah, I think that's one of the defining features is how we can directly manipulate the string. Anyways.
All right. So I will start with the piece that's called Castle of Mir. And this is the first piece that she wrote. Let me just get here my notes so I get the direct quote. So it was written in 1985.
Okay.
And it was written at suggestion of Belarusian guitarist Evgeny Gridushka,
who is watching this stream right now and is
sorry,
Evgeny is leaving comments in Cyrillic, which I unfortunately can't answer, but you can look for it.
So he premiered it in 1986 in Minsk, but of course, unfortunately, there is no recording. Okay. And then it was second edition done in 1992. So that's what he wrote to me when I asked him about the piece. He said, I remember I said to Gorelova that there is a cycle, Castles of Spain by Marina Toroba, and suggested that she write something similar about Belarusian castles, including Mirsky.
Cool.
So Castle of Mir, this is a painting, like it's a drawing, it's not a painting, from 1800s of the castle. But it looks different now, and it's UNESCO World Heritage Site in Grodno region in Belarus.
So have you traveled there to make a video of this piece yet?
I actually was there, but I didn't have a guitar with me.
That's too bad.
Yeah, that would be. I was thinking about that. You're reading my.
I did that with Faya Omenaje by playing it at his house in Granada, and it was very special.
Yeah.
So that would be cool. Future project.
So there is a little bit of neo-Baroque aesthetics. Gorelova says that it's variation in a style of a Noble Chacon, but it's very loose. It's really very loose. Okay. The language is definitely more modal than other. She uses more linear voice leading to kind of take us to old times where the lines were more vertical rather than attention to harmony, right?
Nice.
There is you can hear more fourth, fifth kind of empty intervals. There is almost at the very beginning there is this arpeggio that is made of all perfect fourth, so cool. You can hear, nice. And the piece is framed by chorale. that starts and ends the piece. So now this is me recording this for today.
Nice.
It's far from perfect performance. It's work in progress, but it will give you an idea of what the piece is.
Nice. And just for people who are listening, is there anywhere to purchase the score? Maybe we can put a link after, but.
Okay, so for that you will need to contact me. Like I actually working to, I mean, it was published in Belarus, but it was published not in a very big
yeah.
Right. So of course I actually have the music from those times when it was published in 96. But yeah, I actually trying to see who would be interested in publishing at least some of her music. And that's I think it's an important thing to do. Okay. So
beautiful.
Thank
Very
you.
nice. Yeah, gorgeous.
So that's a castle of Mir.
Yeah, such rich harmonies and interesting like bass movement also, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love seeing music written by non-guitarists also because you see just things where you feel like a guitarist would not write it that way. Not in a bad way, but just it's very
Yeah, absolutely.
it's always fresh, you know. So wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like this piece a lot. And you know, it is kind of music that it keeps growing in you.
There's a lot in there. There's a lot of stuff in there you could sort of discover as you play the piece longer and longer, I can tell, you know?
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Okay, so here we have works for solo guitar. So the Castle of Mir. We have two Winter S stamps. Those are two kind of short pieces, almost like two short paintings.
Yeah,
Prelude
yeah.
and Fugue. Then there is a suite biblical motifs and a piece that she wrote recently for Pavel Rodin, based on a sculpture by Rodin.
Cool.
So from here, I will show actually the next one. I have a little butterfly over the island of blessed. It's a final movement of biblical motifs.
What's
suite.
the island of the blessed? Is this
right? So this is let me just find so I read the direct quote.
Is it the island where John had his revelation? No.
Well, okay.
Sorry, I'm just guessing because I grew up in a very religious family, so I know the Bible fairly well. So I'm just curious.
Well, no, the island of blessed are these kind of like sacred lands where somewhere it's from old times. It's actually not really. I think it's connecting to biblical times, but it's this imaginary lands where everything is perfect. So to say, it's like heaven on earth. And
yeah, it's just interesting because the Garden of Eden was never described as an island in the Bible, and the only island I can think of is where John had his revelation. But I haven't heard it referred to as that. Just interesting.
Cool. Okay, this is what Galina writes about his movement. This is the place where people whose life was righteousness, as well as geniuses whose art, even centuries later, nourishes and heals souls of people, find eternal refuge. And above all this reigns a butterfly, because a butterfly is a psyche. Okay. And you know, like it's an old name. Psyche is a butterfly. I think it's Aristotle gave that name. And in many cultures, butterflies it represents a human soul.
Right.
And so therefore, this movement is framed by section made entirely by kind of triplets that embodies the butterfly, the movement of the wings. Cool. And then, of course, in the Isles of Blessed is the immortal soul of Johann Sebastian Bach, found shelter there too. Therefore, the middle section of this movement contains a freely processed quotation from Bach's chorale, "You will not leave my soul," which shifts with the imitation of a bell chime.
Okay, cool.
So it's a very short piece, just saturated with this meaning.
Yeah, about the last piece, Halim says, "Wow, very beautiful piece." Ricardo says, "Beautiful piece. Thanks for introducing us to this wonderful music." That's why we're here, you know?
Yes.
And the Eek116 on YouTube says, "Great guitar piece, beautiful performance." Couldn't agree more. So
thank you.
Yeah, but I'm glad people are getting introduced to this music too, as I am. This is great.
Yes. So this was like a little short video I actually did on the Camino. I decided, I was just practicing and I had my iPad with me. And I decided to see, you know, how it will sound, and I left it basically.
Nice.
Okay, so let me see. And of course, you
Beautiful.
recognize at the end the quote,
Yes.
the first cello suite
Mm-hmm.
at the very beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it's not a night, it's on purpose.
Yeah.
It's Bach. So like for her,
Nice.
he is definitely in heaven
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
in the island of blessed,
Yeah.
and he still purifies our soul.
Yeah.
He really does.
Nice. Nice ending to the little set. Cool. Evgeny says wonderful music and wonderful playing. Definitely.
Oh, that's very sweet of you, Evgeny, to say. Okay. Okay, so let's continue. So I'm coming back here. Next piece, we will hear this night snowfall. And it's a little, how would I say, how would I describe it? It's a little piece that, like, you know, every Christmas, every New Year, you reflect on what is going on in your life. And you look outside and you see snowflakes, and you like in this half meditative state. The snow is falling, and you kind of getting in and out of between your thoughts and reality. This is kind of the plot. It starts with definite snowfall, so you will hear kind of a little minimalistic technique, something maybe similar. I think, I don't know for sure. Actually, I never asked her, but maybe Brouwer's Landscape with Rain has that similar effect, just with rain. Here's with the snow.
Yeah, the title and the fact that it says Estampes is making me think of the Debussy Footsteps in the Snow prelude, but I don't know if it sounds at all like this.
Right. Well, it's the idea that it's an image. It's the image, and it's a feeling that image produces inside. Yeah. So you will hear a little bit minimalistic, and then I think it's a self-explanatory really piece. I shouldn't say no more.
Okay.
Again, this is work in progress. This is not a final version.
They've all been amazing so far, Elina. Don't even worry about it.
Well, it's
Cool.
It's like almost this kind of little impression
Yeah.
of nature and your inner state,
Yeah.
ever kind of changing, but at the same time meditative.
Yeah, it's easy to get lost in it in a good way. It does have a kind of Brouwer-like texture at the beginning, for sure.
However, that texture also have a very distinct kind of smell of Belarusian rhythms, rhythmical folklore, and even intervallically. It's very interesting.
Yeah,
It's
I just
very
mean also
interesting.
just the way that
Yes,
she uses the
yes,
open strings and yeah.
yes. But like this part when she goes, that's absolutely like from Belarusian. It's very clever how she puts
Cool.
it like little twist there.
Yeah.
That it's that little twist. It's Brouwer. I mean, it's not Brouwer. It's Belarusian.
Yeah, Belarusian. Yeah, cool, nice. Alexander
Yeah.
Vlasenkov says, "Great job, Elina." Yeah,
Thank you.
I agree.
Thank you, Sasha. Спасибо.
Yeah, that was really cool. I want to play this piece now. Awesome.
Okay, cool. Okay, now I think so we're gonna come back here and we will just listen a little bit of prelude and a little bit of fugue.
From Pavel
And that would be
CD.
from Pavel's recording. Yeah. Let me see where I have it here.
Is it a Naxos recording, right?
Yeah, it is a Naxos recording. It is cool. From his Naxos CD. Nice. And I put a little bit music, not just a little bit.
Let's hear the start.
So, of course, prelude and fugue, Bach wrote well-tempered clavier, but then, of course, Shostakovich wrote a set after Bach. And this is a little, modern take, of course, for the guitar.
Cool.
So maybe I stop.
Yeah,
for
nice.
Educational purposes only.
Yes, for copyright reasons, we cannot play an entire copyrighted recording.
And a little bit of fugue.
Nice.
Well,
what a subject! Wow.
It's very cool. It's very cool. It's not an easy fuga, but it's
the
cool.
Subject is also pretty nuts. It's like all these different rhythms, the syncopation and everything. It's cool.
It's very cool.
Yeah.
And of course, please, I think I'm not sure if it's on YouTube, but it's definitely in Naxos. So
Yeah.
please listen to it. It's
Yeah.
a really good piece.
Go look up Pavel Kuchta's Naxos Laureate CD. Yeah.
Yes.
Halim is saying wonderful. Were they transcribed for guitar? No, these are all in original solo guitar work.
No, this is original solo compositions for the guitar by
Yeah.
Galina Gorelova,
Yeah.
composer from Belarus.
Yes.
Yeah.
Cool. And May Capoeira says, thank you for letting us follow along with a piece of the music. Yes, that is very helpful. Thank you, Elina.
Well, at least a couple lines there.
Yeah, it's good. It's great
Yeah.
to see the shape of the music too, and the way she uses notation. I find this very clear to read, you know. Her ideas are sort of immediately...
Well, you know, she is old-fashioned composer that composed with a pen and pencil and eraser.
Right, but I mean also just it's
yes.
As a player, when I look at the score, I'm immediately able to okay, this is what the composer is trying to do, which is a good thing for, you know, obviously bringing it across.
Yeah.
Cool.
And Pavel is doing a great job, like playing it. Like he's very clear where
the subject
with
is
the lines, with the voices, very, very clear.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay.
Cool.
All right.
So
are you ready to continue?
Yes, that was the survey of the solo guitar music, right? Or is there more that we're gonna?
Yes. No. This is right.
Now we are into guitar.
Just a few pieces.
Yeah.
So now there is. So guitar and orchestra. We have concerto. We have a one movement work, Angustia.
Yeah.
And we have one movement work, Caron.
Concertino.
That I have a little recording later. Also, Pavel plays it.
Nice, cool.
Now, guitar and chamber music. She has a few compositions. So, Memories of Nesvish. Nesvish is another complex in the territory of Belarus, of kind of palace. And so there's 4 movements. And from here, the second movement is actually for solo guitar. So I will play that. It's a short movement, very also pretty. The second movement is inspired by nature. The texture and harmony are quite traditional. There are a couple unusual chords, and they bring some freshness to the texture and also an element of magic. This movement is called Melancholy, and it reflects Gorelova's enchantment and fascination by nature of the magical place of this park. So Nesvish is the complex, or palace complex, and next to it is this park, which I went, and it's really, really, really pretty.
Cool.
So and inside in the park, there is like several areas, you know, more secluded, and one of the secluded areas there is like this sculpture of a dog. And Gorelova writes, in the thickest of this park, there is a monument of a dog made of dark marble. I saw that monument, but I didn't know first that this was also. Nice. When I saw it for the first time, I just wanted to take the place of this animal and just merge with witchcraft of the nature.
Nice.
To at the end of my days, just so it's like immersion into nature. Let me see. I think this is actually a photo from one of from actual park. It's not that particular photo. It's not necessarily a place that is very meticulously kept. So it has a feel of like a wild nature, but at the same time a little bit with a little pathos, like a little park-like.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Okay. So, and I did a strange thing yesterday.
What was that? Nice. Cool. You even matched the sweater to it. It's perfect.
Yes, I did. Thank you.
Nice. Beautiful. Very nice. Nice.
So it's a little sketch.
Beautiful.
And now let's read the name. So it's a melancholy wandering along the paths of Nessish Park.
Yeah, beautiful. Rick Larson says beautiful, Elina. Definitely.
Hi, Rick. Thank you.
Yes. Nice. You didn't use a green screen for that, right? Or was that?
No, this is actually was the picture behind.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, I don't know how to use the green screen. I know that it's possible to do the substitution,
yeah,
but
you
know,
where
I'm not that advanced.
you didn't print out this picture, right? This is just
No.
Where was this?
I bought it.
Oh, you bought it. Oh, nice. Cool.
Yeah.
Super cool.
I bought the picture.
Nice.
I thought for a second that it would be nice to have something like that in the forest, because that video that I did in the Camino, like in the park with the butterflies, it's like I thought, oh, that's such a nice idea. And
it is. Yeah.
And since then, I actually have this thought of recording more in nature, but we live in Wisconsin, so
yeah.
and now there's not so much possibility of travel.
Yeah, true. And it's hard.
Sometime in the future.
Yeah, it's also hard to record in nature because of the sound.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
But you can always record the audio first and then, play along to it in the nature for the video part. So that's also possible.
Supposedly very hard to match, though. It's tricky.
It's not too hard if you practice it a few times, because when you're playing along, you don't have to worry about buzzing. So
that's right.
As long as you know your own phrasing well, it's okay. But anyways.
I don't know if I can do the same phrasing twice.
If you listen to it enough and practice it, it's possible.
Oh, then I have to practice imitating myself.
Well, of course. You have to. Anyways, this is a different rabbit hole.
Hi, Mamma Mia. Another hat.
Let's continue talking about Galina's music.
Yeah. Okay, so just a few more examples. I think it will be just plenty for today. Obviously, it's impossible to hear near even just a fragments of everything. So I will look at these 7 elegies by Li Bai, and it's a suite for guitar and percussion. And it's based on the poetry of a Chinese poet, Li Bai. So here. So the first example will be the Northern Wind, and the quote is, "I fly in the sky on clouds, chasing them with a whip."
Nice. What are they using to make the wind sound?
Refer to this video, you will see all.
Okay. Was this a recording of Evgeny playing? Nice.
So, okay, let's read first. I'm sorry, I'm going.
Yeah, no worries.
The white and heavy snowflake was like a heron, which has but just alighted on the lake, motionless on the sandbank's edge. The snow-white heron dreamingly gazes over the winter.
Beautiful.
Oi. Just a little without guitar here. Now, the last one that I will show you, but there are 7. It's called The 6 Dragons in the Chariot of the Sun. I knew joy along riding the 6 dragons. 6 dragons attuned run makes my heart attuned. And I will just put a little bit from here. Now, the recording here is not as good, so we'll just listen and then I'll go back. We'll listen here first. What did I say that? 6:57. So this recording is actually on YouTube, and there's, I believe, I don't think there are 7 there, but I believe there are 6 there for sure.
Amazing.
We can.
Evgeny is really getting a lot of power out of that guitar to keep up with the percussion. That's impressive.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So here is just the sound is better. And so on.
Nice. May Capoeira is asking, what's the name of that to look it up on YouTube? Probably just search 7 Elegies of Lee by Galina
Gorelova. And I don't know, I think we might put links under your video.
Yeah, maybe if someone can find it on YouTube, put it in the chat now, but we'll look it up later and also put it there.
Yeah.
Sorry, May also said sometimes magically the sounds of nature enhance the recording. It's definitely true. The problem is wind, and often if you record outdoors where there's a path, there's people talking and walking by, and I think usually when people put nature sounds in their recording, they record the nature sounds separately and then overlay it over other audio, because
yeah, the trick is to find the nature without people.
Yeah, that's true. It is possible. It's just quite difficult. And then if you're recording with computers and stuff, powering everything.
No, it's not easy.
Yeah.
Not easy.
Yeah.
But what is?
Yeah.
Playing the guitar is not easy.
Exactly. Yeah. Well.
All right. I think I will finish today with a little bit. Let's listen to this piece for the guitar and orchestra. So this is Pavel Kuchta. And I actually wrote to him. He said that we can use his recording, but also it's orchestra involved here.
Cool.
So the piece called Haron. And Haron is in the Greek mythology, is a carrier of the souls of the dead across the Styx River.
Okay. Yeah, she's really drawing on every tradition here. in her
Right.
music. Yeah.
And so he is portrayed as a gloomy old man in rags, and of course, he is the one that people feared, because if he appears, it means that the soul is going to another site and not coming back.
Yes.
So he transports the dead through the waters of underground river.
Mm-hmm. The river Styx.
Yeah. Maybe I move a little forward. Okay, let me see if I find a cadence.
Wow, very dense.
Yeah, the subject is such.
Yeah.
Okay, I just decided to listen a little bit more because I didn't
Beautiful.
want to end on like a very dark place. This is a little bit lighter.
We have to end in a more, you know,
Yes.
positive light. That's very
Um,
cool. It I don't know. It almost seems to me that it shares. Maybe I'm just associating it more with its prelude and fugue, the atmosphere, just the density because it's Pavel. But it almost seems like it has the similar kind of density in the texture. You know.
well, maybe
I'm wondering if she writes that way when she's, you know, or I guess.
also these pieces were written very close to each other,
Oh,
so
okay. Maybe
it's
that's why.
it's it's
Okay.
um,
Yeah.
it's interesting that like you kind of sensed and picked it up.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I guess I don't know. She didn't write this for Pavel, did she, or dedicate it to Pavel?
Yes, I
Oh, she
believe
did.
she did. Let me double check if
Because
she.
some composers, when I did my research on the collaboration between guitarists and composers, this was one of my questions. And some composers do say they write in a specific way for specific people. You know, it's not always the case. Some composers say they don't, but then others do. So I'm just curious.
Right. Well, I don't know.
I wonder. Yeah.
I don't know if Pavel will be happy to hear that his music is so dense. He
No,
will have
dense.
to ask her. He will have to ask her something later.
Yeah. No, dense is not bad. Dense just means a lot of activity. You know, many notes.
No,
And,
absolutely,
it's
absolutely.
not bad at all.
No, he likes a challenge, definitely.
Yeah, and maybe she senses that. I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we're trying to get her to write more music for the guitar.
Yeah, it's a great start already, but hopefully there's more to come.
Looking forward for maybe a guitar duet. We don't have a duet yet.
Yeah.
Maybe.
There you go.
So, but I'm very excited. There is a lot of material here.
Cool.
There is a beautiful suite for guitar and harpsichord that I'm looking forward to record as soon as the harpsichord is available.
Yeah, it's not super easy to find a harpsichordist. I should look into that because Utrecht and the Netherlands has a big early music scene. So probably there are a number of harpsichordists here.
So this is Galina Gorelova. So maybe to finish, I'll read one more time this quote. Sure. The links between traditional and the present day are the characteristic feature of Gorelova's style. Such fusion appears to be exceptionally successful. However, the mixture of styles and the bound techniques, the ability of connecting tonality and atonality, variety of ideas, and multitude of colorful effects do not make an impression of an accidental blend. They create a very interesting composition. If we add perfect skills and knowledge, we may safely say that all this constitutes an original and interesting music language of Galina Gorelova. The language is free of tradition as well as of avant-garde, although consciously alluding to both. It is easy to feel spontaneity, youth, and joy in this lively music.
Nice. And actually, Pavel Kukta just commented on YouTube. Interesting interview. Thank you, Elina. Thank you, Pavel, for how.
Thank you, Pavel, for first of all for playing all the Galina's music because it's very important, and also for giving me the permission to play. His, this is the disc with the prelude and fugue.
Nice. Sorry, back to the quote you just read. It does occur to me, I don't want to draw the parallel too much, but it does occur to me that also in some ways this was, Shostakovich was not necessarily doing what was always trendy in his time. He was doing, you know, fusing some different elements of the past and the present in his time. So it's interesting to see the parallel there as well.
Well, and it is something that, again, I would come back. Shostakovich found his you know, it was Shostakovich, so exactly. He couldn't speak any other way, and like his musical language is his musical language, and it's just a nice nice to know, not just to know. No, it's nice to realize that we don't necessarily have to invent something new every single time in order to be original. It is honest, how we use these means that are available and in which proportion.
Definitely.
I feel a little bit similar to like when you take Tedesco's music, and like when I did my research on Tedesco, there was a lot of criticism that he was not innovative enough, that he was still a tonal composer, because when he was writing, the atonality was such a prevailing technique. And it's almost, if you are still writing tonal, you're like somewhat behind. And I'm glad that we're kind of getting free of that, like almost dogmatic thinking.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, I'm recording a CD soon here, and yeah, I'm playing a bunch of new music. But the thing that the thing that really that I really notice when I look at the program that I'm recording is that all this contemporary music is actually quite diverse in compositional style. Nathan's piece is actually quite traditional harmonically, but does some things that many guitar works have not done before, guitar sonatas. Whereas Jason Noble's piece is like aleatoric, weird tuning and notation, graphic notation. And the point is not what technique the composer is using, it's what they're expressing through that technique.
And how they're using it.
Yeah, just like the quote that you read before from Galina is that, if a composer knows what they want to achieve with a technique, it shouldn't matter so much what that technique is, I think,
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Right.
Cool.
Well, thank you so much for having me. And actually, I would be very, very happy if people comment in this presentation, because I would be gladly looking for the feedback, what you guys liked, because I definitely feel very strongly that this is a very interesting topic, and it's a very interesting composer. And I'm definitely planning to expand this lecture and add some more music, record it myself also, hopefully with publishing, more people will pick up and play the music, and to have this presentation present in different venues and in different, maybe even in GFA. And I would definitely love to see feedback, what you guys liked, so I can tweak and modify it the best possible way.
There are some comments here. Halim says, thank you, Michael, for another great live stream. Thank you, Elina, for introducing this wonderful music of Galina Gorelova. Lots of love. Kenneth Mayer says, such a great conversation. Thank you, Elina, for all the information and your wonderful performances. Thank you, Mike, for a great interview. You are welcome, Kenneth. Evgeny says, thanks a lot, Elina and Michael. And Alexander Vlastenkov says, thank you, Michael and Elina. Best regards from Connecticut. Matthew Salas says, I think Gorelova understands the guitar and composers very well for it. That sums it up, I think,
Yeah.
It's all effective. None of it that I heard, I was like, not sure this works on our instrument, so... That's astonishing for a non-guitar composer. She's very perceptive.
Right. Well, she also realizes that guitar is not an easy instrument to write for. So she usually worked always with another guitarist that would help her also, make this possible, first
Achievable.
of all.
Yeah. It's so important.
And so it sounds well.
Yeah. That was the topic of my master's research, actually, is how do non-guitarist composers work with a guitarist to make their ideas work. It's a very important ingredient, actually. Maybe I need to make a presentation like yours,
That's almost maybe the only way.
One of the only ways. Ricardo Saeb says, very interesting presentation and beautiful music. Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. This has been wonderful, and I'm so happy that so many people got something good out of it. It's great.
Excellent. Thank you, Michael, for having me. It's a pleasure. And thank you all the listeners that listened live, and thank you everybody who will listen to this after the recording.
There's a link in the description to Elina's Facebook, so you can contact her if you're interested in the music or have follow-up questions or feedback about the presentation, since she wants that. And you said that there isn't yet a publishing situation.
Not in the West.
Not in the West.
Okay. Not in the West. It's published like in Belarus, but it's not something that, I want to buy the music. Where can I buy it?
Right. So maybe you need to help her get a web shop set up,
Right. Something like that. Well, I'll talk to you about that, because these are the kind of ideas I would definitely, I'm open to hear.
Yeah, I think people would be into getting the music, and in today's day and age, self-publishing is in many ways the way to go with PDFs and
Right.
everything and online. Anyways, so cool. So thank you everyone so much for tuning in. I should double check who is on my schedule next for the Messy Desk. I believe the next episode is yes, next week on the 23rd. I have Michael Bemmels, who's a Canadian guitarist and composer in Vancouver. It's going to be the Michael and Michael show next week, and he's going to show a set of miniatures he just wrote for guitar, which I think he also published. He's going to play all of them and go in depth on them. So if you want to hear some music coming from the west coast of Canada, tune in next Saturday around the same time. Or wait, it's Friday next week, actually. Yes, Friday. We're doing Friday and Saturday next week. So tune in then. Thank you, Elina, again. This has been awesome. And do you have any last words or thoughts about this before we sign off?
Well, I want to thank you actually for this presentation, because it really gave me a little push to learn more about technology, recording technology.
Well, you did a great
I
job.
was almost hesitant to look into that, but it's actually more doable than I thought.
Yeah, no, it's yeah, you did great, and it's great, and hopefully we'll see the videos published eventually, like
and
in another form.
And thank you for all the work that you are doing with these presentations, because it's very interesting. You bring interesting people and interesting information forward. And
thank you.
Especially this time that we had not so much traveling, it was very, very welcoming to hear these videos.
Yeah, it was fun. I've met so many people and learned so much myself. So that's, a good starting point in itself. So
all right.
Thanks everybody, and we'll see you next time. And if you want to contact Elina about the music or anything else, just check out the description of the video. Thanks everyone.
Bye. Enjoy your